Okay, so I've been testing some stuff with Mainline Dolphin, with trying to figure out how to fix a lot of the like stuttering issues. So I made some footage that I filmed and everything like that. I'm gonna upload this all to YouTube separately for people to watch. But to kind of get through this quickly, here is a setup with the completely like vanilla settings that you would find with just if you downloaded the Mainline Dolphin build right now off the website. Made these replays in order to make it like easier to like compare everything and make it like more consistent for comparison. You can see this is on my PC, my like personal PC, which is pretty powerful. It's got like really good graphics card, everything, and you know it stutters a bunch. Even like these little minor ones here, you can kind of see it freezes for a second if you look at the FPS, and especially during the beginning of you know, games and everything like that. You know, it's very noticeable, and it happens a lot throughout different matches or as you play and everything like that. And that's really annoying, and it's made a lot of people not want to play on Mainline Dolphin because they don't want to deal with all these stutters, and people go back to the old one and just, you know, keep playing on the old one. So what can we do about this? So one of the things we can do is we can, you can enable skip drawing, which is basically a type of shader compilation, which is, this is what the old Ishii Dolphin, or Unk build as some of you call it now, did, where basically if it doesn't have time to like render the thing in time because it doesn't have a like cache file or like the thing for it, blah blah blah, it just opts not to load it at all. So you'll see here that when we're about to, there's about to be a bunch of like pop in and like low key flashing images, not too bad though, just a heads up. But like, you know, it doesn't have like the necessary thing or whatever for like Luigi's or for like Lucas's and Pit's like spawn animation, and so it just is like, okay, just don't load it, and that way it doesn't stutter, but it also means that it has these very glitchy graphics as, you know, it all, you know, the game spawns in and it's like, whoa. Or sometimes you'll even see the characters themselves just like kind of, you know, it's a little hard to see, but like Lucas just like disappears for like a frame or two or a few, and then just comes back. So, you know, it's great because this helps with there being like no stutters or anything like that, but it still means these kind of glitchy graphics are like just like potential other things. So, you know, it's not perfect. So, but what if we could have a way where we could have, you know, no stutters or very little stutters at the very least, you know, ideally, but none of these like glitchy popping graphics? Well, what you can do is that Dolphin has a, let me just open this up real quick. As you play the game and everything like that, Dolphin builds up the like the shader files and shaders that you need for the game and everything like that, and it also saves it to these uidcache files. And what these are is, these are basically just a giant index of all the different shaders and everything so far. But what's cool is that you can take these uidcache files and you can share them or distribute them to other people, and then what they can do is that if you combine that with the compile shaders before startup setting, it will take that index and basically create all of the shaders ahead of time before you actually like boot up and start the game. And what that means is that if you combine it with skip drawing, what you can do, you know, my computer just takes a little bit, boots it all up, you know, compiles all of them, loads into the game, and then, oh, OBS made it disappear. Thanks, OBS. There we go. So you'll see now, this was also from like a fresh install with no like shader files there before, anything like that. And you'll see, despite it being skip drawing, there's none of the like popping in graphics or anything of the sort. There are still some things like that. It's not perfect, mostly because like if there is something you encounter where it doesn't have a like pre-existing shader file for it, it will have to do that thing where it just makes them disappear, like doesn't load them, but then it collects it and it adds it to both your shader files and the index file, and everything like that. So what this means is that if you basically combine the settings with these files that can be distributed, and they work regardless of, you know, graphics card setting. I believe they are across OS as well. So like I made these on Windows, but I believe they would still work on like Mac OS. this can help, avoid all of the stutters and everything like that, and none of the glitchy graphics, as well as just like having a lot of your shaders just like already made ahead of time, which is really, really nice, and I hope is something that can help reduce the stutters that people have on mainline Dolphin, as well as another problem that people run into, especially in net play scenes, is that when you download, the regular vanilla build, but then there's also the Illinois build, the the Ontario build, the Massachusetts build, the Zoo build, the Icebox build, like all these different things. Each time you're starting from complete scratch with all of your shaders, and that sucks, because that means that like you again have to go back to the problem we all started with, which is that you're building them from scratch, and then if you're on the regular shader settings, when there isn't something available, it has to stutter and freeze, and when you're on skip drawing, it just has to pop in all these glitchy graphics and pop in. But with these, what you could do is that you could attach these and put these into all of the different Dolphin PM Dolphin builds that you have as you download them, or if you ever to re-download one, and then it can compile them all from scratch, or it can, rather than starting from complete scratch, it has the indexes ahead of time, and you can use that to ahead of time just like get all your shaders back basically. And it's really cool too, because you can take these and you can plop them into your Dolphin, and it will just keep building from where it started. So you can pop in like a 4,000 kilobit file, and then just keep playing, and anytime it encounters new shaders, it adds it to the shaders, it adds it to the index, and it just keeps growing and growing. And so you can just keep these all between different things and everything like that. And again, thanks to skip drawing, I did this example where I hadn't yet on these like index files or anything, I hadn't gone to the like Fandrana that you see on like the Illinois build and everything like that. And so it does do the thing where it like pops in and everything like that, but again, it doesn't cut the frame rate, it doesn't stutter, it is kind of annoying, but it only has to do this once, and then it's saved to your index, it's saved to everything, blah blah blah, and you in real time don't have to deal with any stutters. And I believe you'll also see at one point like Ganon forwards errors, and it just like disappears for a second, but again, then won't happen again. And thanks to skip drawing, the game doesn't have to like completely freeze in order to do that, because I actually then went and tested this with the like default vanilla settings, like no skip drawing, whatever, and you'll see that like it's not too bad on my computer, but it does definitely stutter for a second. And here it's a little hard to see, but there's like that little micro stutter and stuff like that as Ganon does the forward air. Even my like beefy computer can't handle it. So I hope that these are things that can help people with mainline Dolphin. Maybe it can be something that can be incorporated to the official build at some point. Definitely think something to look into and consider, but at the very least, I figured I wanted to let this all be known about, or just kind of share these information. I just wanted to get it out as quickly as possible without having to make like a scripted video or like document or anything like that. But also, it's not just my like beefy strong computer that can benefit. This is a computer I borrowed from Motobug. It's really old and crappy, very lower specs and everything like that. Not really the greatest, and you can definitely tell that because when I put Dolphin on it, and this is a test with completely like vanilla settings and everything like that, it once again has struggles with stutters. It has struggles with all sorts of stuff, like Pit's about to spawn in, and like Lucas is about to PK freeze, or like and it's all stuttery and just not great. But when I use these index files, the uidcache files, brought this onto the computer, enabled the skip drawing plus combined shaders combo, and on the old computer like this, it definitely takes a bit longer to compile all of this stuff. Actually, as you can see, I put the camera down just because I think I went to the other room and like did something, I forgot. And skipping through this, it takes about like 2 minutes or whatever. But again, I'll post the specs of each PC I haven't tested on, as well as all the footage of these tests. But this laptop is old as dirt, dude. So only like 2 minutes. I think most of you will have like much speedier, and even then, like 2 minutes not the worst, because it only has to do this once and it doesn't have to do it again. It's just for the initial building of all your shaders and everything like that. But you'll see that, even on this old ass UncTop, as Moto calls it, with these settings and everything like that, a little bit at the beginning usually does that for the first match, but as you can see, much smoother, very little stuttering, very little issues, as well as none of the like glitchy, extreme like popping graphics or anything like that. It works a lot better. None of this pops in, completely smooth. And yeah, I hope it's just I hope this is all just something that can really benefit. This all came along because as I was making the fork for the Ontario Project M build of like Dolphin, I looked into this to find something that could help benefit all of these things. So you can try it out either by downloading the Ontario build, or I've also uploaded these individual index files here onto my GitHub. And you just have to take these, download them, and sauce them into your user directory and then the cache folder. Just plop right here, and then you would just want to make sure that you enable the compile before startup. And yeah, I hope this is something that can benefit the community or get more people to try out mainline build, and have less issues with it. And maybe if it goes successfully enough, this can be incorporated into the official builds. We'll see. But I just wanted to get all this info out there, and hopefully this time my recording did not fuck up, because it's the second time I recorded this. Let's pray.